Hey everybody, Hunter, Fisher, Trapper, Trader, Guide, Scout, and Interpreter, and just a country cook, Steve Hall, here in Nashville, Tennessee, along with pretty Miss Sheila running that camera. Hi, Sheila.
Hi.
You do such a great job running that camera and directing and keeping me straight, you just don't know.
Well, thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Today we're going to make baked turkey wings. Boy, I'll tell you, I had the toughest time finding turkey wings. I went over to Kroger's and they didn't have the whole turkey wing. They only had the middle section, not the drumette or the little wing part at the end that you cut off. You don't eat that anyway. They only had the little double bone middle section of the turkey wing. Then I called over to Publix and the guy at meat department, he said, let me check. He come back, he said, man, everybody buys up our turkey parts all the time and we're completely out until tomorrow. Well, I called up here at Food Line, and guess who answers the phone? Frankie, that guy that gave me and Sheila that recipe for that Shiraka honey salmon. Remember that, Sheila?
That was good.
Oh, it was delicious. He says, yeah, I got the whole turkey wing right here. How many packages you want? I told him, he pulled them aside for me. I went down, got them, brought them home. We rinsed them off, and then I seasoned them up with this seasoning right here. Let me tell you what's in this bowl. It's a 1/4 cup of Cajun seasoning. And the reason I used Cajun seasoning is because I was going to use this Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, and I got to looking on here, and the #1 ingredient is salt. They should put on their #1 ingredient is salt, salt, and salt, because I poured some in a spoon and tasted it. It's just pure salt. But this starts out with garlic and paprika and spices, then salt. So I went with that instead, but it does have a kick. So I wanted to turn it down just a little bit. So I got a 1/4 cup of Cajun seasoning, and make sure the ingredients don't start out with salt. And then I put in 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, not the salts, and 1 tablespoon of paprika. I mixed it all together and I rubbed it down on these turkey wings, and they've been in the refrigerator overnight. Come on over, let's get started on this recipe. You're gonna just love baked Cajun turkey wings. Did I get that all out, Sheila?
You did.
I did good. Come on over, let's get started. Now, I don't want to put the bad mouth on Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. I'm sure there's a time and a place to use that seasoning, but for what I want here, I've got this stuff right here. I don't even know where I bought it. It's Tone's Cajun seasoning. I put some in a spoon. Man, it tastes just delicious. A lot of spices, a lot of great flavor, but a lot of kick. So, well, duh, it's Cajun seasoning. They're going to put some kick in there for you. But remember what I did. I put in a 1/4 cup of that Cajun seasoning, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, and 1 tablespoon of my favorite paprika. This is that McCormick's Gourmet smoked paprika. I love it. I mix it up and I rub these turkey wings down, and I'm keeping this for a reason. The rest of this seasoning, don't throw it away. Only use about half of it on this right here. Look what we have. Now these little guys, I kept them just to show you. These are the little tips of the turkey wings. I'm going to say chicken wings all day today, but turkey wings that I cut off, but I saved them because I wanted to show you that I whacked them off of there. Then I took the drumettes and the little two-boned part, that's all that Kroger had up there, and I cut it apart so they would lay flat in my baking dish. But right now, I'm going to put a nice golden brown sear on all these. No matter what I'm baking, if I'm baking it or I'm putting it in the slow cooker, I'm not putting it in raw. Same thing with beef and whatever. Man, you put it in the slow cooker, it comes out, looks like a gray blob. But if you sear it up first, like I'm getting ready to do, it'll get a nice golden crust on the outside. Then we'll bake it, because this won't cook it all the way through, but it will when it sits in the oven for 3 hours. That's right, I said it, 3 hours. We're going to turn it down. Now, a lot of recipes cook this in those baked pans at like 350, even 400 degrees. I think low and slow really makes it fall off the bone, so I'm going to kind of split the difference. I would normally go like 250 for 4 or 5 hours, but I don't want to wait that long, so I'm going to go 300 degrees for 3 hours. But we're not quite to that stage yet, so let me get this all browned up and then we'll go from there. All right, now we don't want to cook these all the way through. We just want to put a nice sear on them, like that right there. Yeah, looking good. Just to kind of brown them up. I could use a little bit more on that side. He's good. He looks pretty good. Because we're going to do something to these in a little bit, and I'll show you what that is. So let me get the rest of these and fit him in there. Yeah, turn him over. He's looking good. Does that look good, Sheila?
It does.
Man, I'll tell you what, I was so shocked at the two major stores in town, Kroger's and Publix. Neither one of them had the full chicken wings, but up here at Food Lion, they had packages of them. I thought, man, that is so slick. And I want to thank Frankie for his last recipe. And we talked this recipe over a little bit, and he showed me where a few different spices were in the store. That guy is so helpful up there at Food Lion. All right, there, yeah, look at that. Now that looks nice, don't it?
It does.
All right, let me get the rest of these browned up. There's no sense you sitting here watching me fry these up. Let me get all these wings up with a nice little crust on the outside, and we'll go from there. And here is our last batch. Boy, they look terrific. Now, obviously, they're still raw inside, but there's a reason for that. Perfect. Now, I'm going to let these cool so I can handle them, and I'll be back and show you the next step. All right, for our next step, Sheila, how come you didn't clean this pan?
Told me not to.
That's because I got some of this seasoning smeared down here in the bottom, and man, I just laid the olive oil to it. Don't be afraid to put plenty in there, maybe about 1/8 of a cup or so, because it's all going to float up when we put our chicken broth in amongst all of our turkey wings. And let me tell you what I'm going to do with this chicken broth right now. You see my seasoning that I saved? Here's where the fun starts. I'm going to pour this in here. Just enough, not too much, but just enough to make a paste. Ooh, that looks really good. Make a nice little paste there. You notice I got my gloves on because we're going to have some fun right now. And let me show you what we're going to do. When I talk about flavor to the bone, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to take these turkey wings and we're going to cut a slot in there like that. We're going to open that up. We're going to take some of that paste and we're going to push it down in there, right in next to the bone. And you talk about flavor infusing into all of the meat, down the bone line, everything. Then we're going to lay them over here. Same thing with our little drumettes. Not little, but just go off to one side of the bone, which is right here. Open that up. Get some of our Cajun paste. Poke it down in there. Are you watching me do this, Sheila? I think you might want to get a close-up. Check this out. Thank you, Sheila. Let's show them what we're doing here. Now this has got two bones, so right down the middle is easy to do. Open that up. Take that paste. Can you see that, Sheila?
I can.
And we're going to push that seasoning right down inside of there. Lay it over here on our seasoning and olive oil, which is going to float to the top when we pour chicken broth over it. And that oil will come up off the bottom, mixed with the seasoning, and come right up to about the middle, or even slightly. We almost want to cover it, but we want to leave it stick out there a little ways to kind of help get a little bit crisp. Get our slot in there. But that oil will float up off the bottom of that pan and help cook right into the side of our turkey wings. Just cut that drumette off to one side of that big bone and get her packed down in there. Man, I'm telling you what, sometimes cooking can be really fun. And this is one of those times. I love this. This is awesome. Let me get right about there. Now, if you run into the bone, just scoot your knife over a little bit. Go down either side of it. It doesn't matter. Just as long as you open that up a little bit. Put your finger down in there. Just get a pinch of that paste. Tip of your finger. Push it down in there and rub it on both sides of that bone. Man, I'm telling you what. bone-sucking sauce. This is the real deal here now. Run into a bone, move over 1 second. And let me get the rest of these stuffed up and moved over to this pan. And I'll show you the next couple of steps, and then it's going in the oven. We'll see you in a second. What do you think, Sheila?
Looks awesome.
Doesn't it look fantastic? She says, that looks so good, like that's going to be so delicious when it's done. And she's right. Now, if I was going to deep fry these, I would probably put them in a brine, like cold water and salt and sugar, for about 4 to 8 hours. But I'm not. I'm going to bake them. And what I did is I did all them little slots all the way through there, and we took our seasoning and sprinkled it on the bottom of this roasting pan. Quite a bit of olive oil, made the slots, put the seasoning in. And remember, that seasoning, and well, instead of going through all the amounts, it's underneath the video. Just right underneath the video, click on Show More, and I'll type it all in there. And when I got to this point, I noticed we had some beef broth left at the house, but we didn't have any chicken broth. So I made some. I got some of this instant chicken bouillon, and I'm sure you got some chicken bouillon cubes at the house. It's the same thing. This is just in a granulated form. Took about 4 or 5 cups of water, 1 teaspoon of this for every cup, as that's at least what the directions said. I probably still got some of this seasoning on me. Now you can also hit this. It depends upon how spicy you want this. You can also, once you get it in the pan here, give it a little teeny dusting, a little angel dust there. Look at that. Just a little dusting of seasoning on the top. One more time. Won't be too spicy. Now, I'm going to pour this broth in here, but I'm going to pour it off to one side so it doesn't wash all the seasoning off the top of our turkey. So I'm going to pick an innocent little spot here in the corner. I'm going to keep pouring that in there. Looking pretty good. Don't be afraid to fill it right up there, almost to the very top of all those pieces. Some of the little ones will probably go under, not under water, but under broth, so to speak, right about there. Boy, that looks pretty good. In fact, I think, yep, that'll be perfect right there. Now their next step, let me do a little house clean, because Sheila's going to say I spilt some over here.
How did you know I was going to do that?
Well, I just know. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get our aluminum foil over here, and we're going to cover this up. Now here's the thing, if you don't have one of these deep pans, don't forget you got a turkey roaster at the house, a round one or oval one. Just put it in there. In fact, you could even lay these on top of that rack as long as you got it deep enough with juice to get up pretty much to the top. I got a couple of these sticking out there a ways, so I'll just pour the rest of that in there. And then put the lid on your roaster, and you don't even have to use aluminum foil. And again, there's so many recipes out there that do these turkey wings where they crank the heat up to 350, even 400 degrees and all that stuff for an hour or two. I like that low and slow cooking. So we're going to go kind of split the difference. I'd rather go down to 250, but I'm going to go to 300 in about 2 hours and 50 minutes. Actually about 2.5 hours. I'm going to check it out and see how tender that is. But we're going to keep doing it until it gets just fall off the bone tender, and we'll be back to show you what's underneath this delicious aluminum foil. Actually, under the foil is the delicious turkey wings, so it's in the oven. Were you ready to do this, Sheila?
I'm ready.
Did you preheat the oven?
No.
Well, all right, we're going to go ahead and preheat the oven. The answer was supposed to be, yes, I did. I've got it ready for you. No. I know. Anyway, we'll be back in about 3 hours with some absolute fantastic food. See you then. You're supposed to say yes, Sheila.
No.
Look what we have, a total of 3 hours, 2 hours and 30 minutes at 300 degrees. Then I uncovered it, and then I cranked it up to 350 for the last half an hour. We kind of let it tone down a little bit because it was bubbling hot when we brought it in here. I want to try, man, look at this stuff. Gee. Let me get one of these out of here. Plate this up. Boy, that stuff looks so good. You find another nice looking one here. Maybe this big one right here. I'm trying to find a real pretty one for the camera shot. This one looks pretty good right here as well. The bone's exposed quite a bit on it. Of course, they all are. They've all pulled back quite a bit. Let me put one more little guy in the middle on there. And look what we have. Goodness gracious. Now I'm going to set this over here. All right, I see so many recipes online, and everybody serves it different, where they just put this on a bed of rice. But traditionally, down in there in Louisiana, they serve it with dirty rice. And what is dirty rice? It's not brown rice, it's white rice with sausage and peppers and all kinds of stuff in it. Now, I didn't make this from scratch. I'll tell you that I went and got this Zatarain's dirty rice dinner mix, and you mix this box up, simmer it for like 25 minutes, put in 1 pound, and it says on here you can use ground beef, ground pork, ground turkey, or ground sausage. And you know me from Minnesota, I love sausage. And of course, Sheila got over there, and she's nibbling on it. And in went about a 1/4 stick of butter. Then, the other side that's very traditional with this recipe, and Sheila loves these too, is baked beans. Now, I cheated again. I went out and just got a can of Bush's country style baked beans, because the star of the show is this turkey. And I just wanted to show you some sides. We have a great baked bean recipe on our channel. Check it out. It's phenomenal. But I wanted to concentrate on making this today. Then, I'm also going to get a little of this broth over here. Now, so here's something else you can do. You can also, you know how we browned this up in that frying pan? You can take the drippings with a little flour, a little bit of milk and water, and make a gravy to go over the top of this. Oh, man. But I just want to get down to the baked Cajun flavor and give you a verdict on this. Let me move this over here. And before I carve into this, I'm going to get a camera shot, because that's what Sheila's going to have me do. You won't believe this. 3 things have happened since we turned the camera off. First of all, the battery went dead, so we had to go in and get another one. While she was doing that, I went in the kitchen and made some of that gravy out of those drippings. So this has cooled off a little bit. And 3, I remembered to put my apron back on, because earlier in the shot, after I brought it out of the oven, I just carried it in here. I was so excited that I just turned it on. Looky here. There's a little bit of that gravy on top our wings. And I made this from the drippings when I fried this up earlier, so it's probably got a little spice to it as well. Now, we can probably take a little picture. Now that we got a battery, my apron on, and that gravy. Instead of just telling you, hey, you could do this, I went in and did it. And all I did is I went in there, left about 2 or 3 tablespoons of them drippings in there with the oil, threw in the same amount of flour, took a whisk on low heat, or medium heat actually, and got it to where it cooked up a little bit, and I poured in some water and milk mixture, because that's what Sheila's ma does down in Alabama. She puts water in her milk when she makes gravy, and boy, it just turned out perfect. And here we are. What do you think, Sheila?
Looks yummy.
All right, let's stop and take a couple of pictures, and then we'll go on from there.
Okay.
All right, we took the pictures for our thumbnail. That's a little picture that's at the front of the YouTube channel when you see our recipe. I got to try this dirty rice. Sheila said I could eat the whole thing. I said, you can't till after the recipe. That's got sausage in there. That's store-bought. Those bush beans are really good. That's store-bought. But these wings, Sheila and I made these. Let me just go down the side here. Look at this. Just falls right off the bone. And that's one other thing too. Once you cook this in the oven for 3 hours at over 300 degrees, you don't have to check it with a thermometer to see if it's at a safe temperature, because it is just falling off the bone tender. Let me get, does that look good or what? Golly. Let me get some of that up out of there. Here we go. And that seasoning is still down in between that little opening. Here we go. Wow. That is absolutely delicious. And I'm glad I went and made the little gravy too. That's just icing on the cake. Wow. I'm sorry, but I almost can't stop eating this stuff. It's fantastic. That is delicious. Man, you should see, look at this. This is a drumstick, and look at how the meat is just falling off of this drumstick. Look at that. Unbelievable. And the best part is we got a whole pan full of that. And I used a total of 6 wings. I cut off that little teeny part at the end that you don't eat, and then I cut it in half, so I had 12 individual pieces, and they fit right in this cooker just right. And I'll tell you something. This is one of those recipes that we will be making more often right here at the house. You got to give it a try. And I'll tell you this too. When I was first eating that wing, I was thinking, boy, this is really meaty and delicious and flavorful. But it's not hot at all. But about 2 or 3 minutes and about 3 or 4 bites into it, starts to kind of get in your mouth that little bit of a zing, which is perfect. Try this recipe. Like I said, I'll put all the spices, the amounts underneath. You can take that amount to do a whole pan because you stuff it inside, rub it on the outside, and turn it into a paste. Sprinkle some on top. Whew. I hope you give this a try. There you have it. Delicious baked Cajun turkey wings. It ain't no wonder they run out of them at Kroger's and at Publix. Well, they got them over at Food Lion. Thanks a lot there, Frankie. Appreciate you helping me with another great recipe. We hope you subscribe to our channel. A little Shotgun Red's face will pop up over here in just a little bit. When it does, click on that. Right next to it will be a little bell. If you click on that, then it'll notify you every time we come out with a new recipe. I'm going to put some other recipes over here. And you know what I'm going to do? I think as much as I like to put a playlist over here for you to watch, I think I'm going to put that baked bean recipe over here. Good idea, Sheila?
Good idea.
Because it's delicious. Takes a little longer to make. I wanted to concentrate on these turkey wings, but I'll put that over there for you. And is this the most delicious baked Cajun turkey wings you ever ate? If it ain't, it ought to be. Steve Hall in Nashville, Tennessee, saying we'll see you next time right here on Cooking with Shotgun Red, where you never have to look up any of our recipes on a website or a blog because it's right underneath the video. Just click on Show More. It'll drop down. You can print it out. But as Sheila always says, if you want to snoop around at shotgunred.com, we got them Shotgun Red dolls, some other goodies, and I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. Right up here on the shelf is a box of Shotgun Red's catfish, crappie, and breading mix. And I got to tell you, it's a long story of how we lost the recipe and we got the recipe back. We sold it to a company that kind of went under, but we had to legally wrangle it back into our family, and we now have it again. Be patient because I'll be putting it at shotgunred.com where you can click and order. But it is the best fish breading in the world. In fact, I was almost going to bread these turkey wings with it and fry them. But I thought I better not do that because that's a whole nother show. We'll see you next time right here on Cooking with Shotgun Red. Say goodnight, Sheila.
Good night, Sheila.
And she loves turkey, so she'll try this. Bye-bye for now.